For today's daily devotional, I want to start by asking you a question. What are your reasons for your faith? Like, why do you believe in God? And if you're a Christian, specifically, why do you believe in Jesus Christ? What are your reasons for your faith? It's a common misconception to think that reason and faith are opposed to one another. I was having this conversation last week with someone who said, wait, why are you talking about reason? I thought faith was just blind belief. But the Bible is actually pretty clear that faith is not blind belief. Faith is not the suspension of reason. Faith is the fruit of reason. Like, if there is a God of truth, then our quest and desire for truth should ultimately lead us to a deeper knowledge and experience of the God who is truth. The reason I feel led to bring this up today is because yesterday, one of the great thinkers, the great reasoners of the Christian faith, a man named Ravi Zacharias, went home to be with the Lord. And few people have had such a profound impact in my life. When I was really grappling with some hard questions about faith and really wondering what is the role of faith and reason together, Ravi kind of took me by the hand, not literally because I didn't know him personally, but through his books and through his teaching, and showed me just strong foundation that really faith gives to have a very reasoning and intellectual life. And so today, I wanted to give one of the reasons for faith that Ravi would go back to again and again and again. And I do this as kind of a tribute to him, and hopefully it'll be an encouragement to you. We're going to read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Simple verse, but it has profound implications. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Right? This immediately confronts both atheism and agnosticism. Right? The atheist wants to say there is no God. And yet this actually shows us that breaks the very first fundamental rule of science. Right? The first fundamental rule of science is that nothing cannot produce something. That's the first rule of science. Nothing cannot produce something. Right? Science starts by saying, hey, here's something that's happened or something that exists, and it looks for where did this come from. Right? Science is all about trying to find and unlock the cause. Well, atheism says there is no cause. This world just is. There was no beginning. There was no creation. Things just are. But things can't just be what they are. Like, there has to be some cause. This can't just come from nothing. It has to come from something. And so atheism is actually not robust enough to handle the question of why do we even try to do science? Like, where does this even come from? Like, what is the cause? Atheism is not thinking deeply about life. It's actually not thinking deeply enough. Agnosticism, it wants to say, well, we're not going to say that there is no God because, they recognize that no one can really say that. Agnostics want to say, well, we just don't know. We just don't know who this God is. We haven't seen enough evidence for this God. Well, the question is, really, what more evidence do you need than yourself? Like, we shouldn't be able to look in the mirror and think anything other than we have a creator. Like, obviously we came from our parents, but where our parents come from, and then take all that way back, like, where the first humans come from, and then, okay, if you believe in evolution and some of the things there, okay, if it all comes back to one big bang, what made it all go bang? Right? That's the first question that has to be answered. Not the mechanism of how. I don't really care how. I care who. Where reason should take us to is, as we think about this, living in this created world, it should lead us to thinking, well, who created this world? We don't have to know how he created it, but we can know for certain that he exists. And so the really, really fundamental question we should ask is, how can we know who this creator is? How can we know who this creator is? And this is one of the unique things about the Christian faith. Right? Every other faith in the world is founded upon a man who claims to tell things about God, right? So Muhammad never said that he was Allah, he was just Allah's prophet, right? Moses never said he was Yahweh, he was just Yahweh's prophet. Buddha never said he was God, he was just the one who would eventually become enlightened to become like a God. Like they were all men who pointed the way to a higher place. Christianity is unique because Jesus did not say that he come to point to a higher existence. No, he said that he literally is God. He is the creator, he says, who stepped into creation. And then he didn't just say, take my word for it. No, what did he do? He showed that he has the power of the creator by becoming uncreated. Like he died and then reversed that. Like he came back to life. And so the reason that we can have to believe that Jesus is the creator is because he's the one who recreated himself. And so we have very good reason to believe that there is a creator because we're living in a created world. And Jesus is that creator because he's the one who's come back from the dead. It really does come back to, what do you believe about the resurrection? And that's a whole separate devotional that maybe we'll do at some other time. But it really comes back to as fundamental as that, you know? And so that'd be my question I would ask you. What are your reasons for your faith? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about the fact that we live in a created world that speaks about a creator? Have you thought about how Jesus proves that he is that creator, that he is the one who does have, from whom life originates, and he showed that by coming back to life? You know, my main point in all is to show that the more we think about things, that should not lead us away to faith. That should actually lead us into a deeper expression of faith. And so my encouragement to you would be, don't be scared of questions. Don't be scared of reasoning. No, good questions and good reasoning will actually result in the fruit of a deeper, more thoughtful faith. And as Socrates said, what's life worth living if we don't examine it? And so I'd encourage you to live an examined life, to think deeply about life, and to allow that deep thinking to take you deeper into experiences of faith. I think if we do that, man, in some small way, we're all going to have a little bit of Ravi Zacharias to thank for it, because no one has laid a stronger foundation for thinking deeply about faith than he has in the past 50 years. And so thank you, Ravi. Grateful for your life and ministry. Keep a seat warm for me up there. I'm hoping we can finally get that dinner in heaven that we never got on earth. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow with another Daily Devotion.